welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Belinda's Book Cafe. So I got a new shelf since the last time I did any bookish videos, and also if you follow me on Instagram, you know that home cafes are my new favorite thing. I love making cafe drinks, and sometimes I'll make cafe treats as well. So I thought it would be fun to combine the two in this video and possibly in future videos. For this video, I'm going to be participating in the Hear Our Voices book tour for Dating Makes Perfect by Pink Tip Dunn. So this is a story that centers a Thai American girl and family, and it's written by a Thai American author, Pink Tip Dunn. And so it's about this girl named Winnie, and she's the youngest of 3 sisters. Her older sisters are twins, and they just started college, and while they were in high school, the sisters, their parents never let them date. And so now that they're in college, the mom is like, when are you getting engaged? When are you getting married? When am I gonna have grandchildren? And the sisters are like, we never practiced dating in high school because you never let us, so we're not going to be dating anyone for the next 10 years. And so the mom is like, Winnie, youngest child, you have to practice dating because I want grandchildren. You're going to practice dating with our family friend, Matt, who happens to be your childhood friend turned enemies. So this is a childhood friends to enemies to lovers, and it's super fun. Since this book does center a Thai American story, I am not Thai, but I am Lao, and Laos is next to Thailand, and so they share a lot of cultural similarities, like cuisine, like primary religion being Buddhism, and even some language aspects. Like I grew up watching Thai dramas, seeing Thai news, Thai media, listening to Thai music, and I can kind of understand it, but also a lot of Lao people do understand Thai and consume Thai media. Like my mom, she understands it, she can read it, she can write it. Like I said, cuisine is similar, so I thought it'd be fun to share a home recipe with you. I will be making Thai tea and sugar toast. So I'm gonna start making this food and we'll just talk about the book at the same time. I think it would be hopefully fun. So what we have here is a baguette, French bread, and I mean, if you're French, you probably are like, what is this? But this is French bread in America. And so sugar toast is actually something that appears in the book. It's something that Winnie eats for breakfast, and it's something that I grew up eating too. I gotta make sure to cook at the same time as I talk. So I have a memory, I don't know if it's really true or not, of playing outside and then coming inside, and my aunt had sugar toast for us. Like I grew up thinking that toast meant bread toasted with sugar and butter, and that's what I grew up thinking. And then I went to in high school, I was a ski racer, and at the skiing place you could get this chicken tender basket and it comes with toast. And the first time I ate it, I was so confused because there was no sugar, it was just bread and butter. So apparently, and Winnie actually does talk about it a little in the book where she's like, this is a Thai thing. I'm like, oh, this is probably, like, it is a thing for me too, that I grew up eating in my Lao Chinese, my dad's Chinese, Lao Chinese household. So I guess maybe it is an Asian thing. I talked to my Korean friend and she's like, yeah, I like eat toast with sugar too. I'm like, well, so I thought it'd be fun to make because she eats it in the book. And it's pretty simple. So yeah. We're gonna cut up toast. What you can do, I'm gonna make it 2 ways. One where you toast it first and then add the butter sugar. The second way where you toast it with the butter sugar. And it's kind of a little different depending on which way you eat it. So yeah. I think I'm gonna make 5 slices. And that should be good enough. So now we got the toast. Now I have my tray I'm gonna bake it on, and I'm gonna make 2 without the butter sugar, and then the 3 I'm gonna put butter sugar on first. So now I have butter. You can use whatever butter you have, and I have sugar. So I'm using brown sugar. I think I like it better than using white plain sugar. And this does say peanuts, but because we're Asian and we recycle everything, it has brown sugar on the inside. I will not take it out because it will be messy. So you put in some butter. Well, there's markers for how much butter this is on here. I'm gonna start with maybe 1.5 tablespoons of butter. And softened butter works probably the best because then you can mix the sugar in. So now I have my butter in here. I don't know if you can see it that well. And then now I'm gonna add sugar. So, okay, so this is the thing about my recipe. I really don't measure anything. So I'm gonna, but I also, like, I feel like you should make things your own. If you're someone who doesn't like something that's super sweet, then less sugar. If you like it super sweet, then more sugar. So me, I kind of like things medium sweet, but I'm gonna put in 2-3 spoons of sugar. This is a lot of sugar. Okay, so now I have sugar in here, and I'm just gonna try to mix it all together. Sometimes it works better if you melt the butter a little bit, or you can also like cream it. It's kind of like frosting, I guess. But my microwave died yesterday, so I'm gonna mix it up and then, oops, and then put it on my toast. Okay, talking about the book though, I really loved reading, and I felt like reading it, and I felt like I did relate a lot to Winnie and a lot of the cultural things that she did. And I love how the author would talk about it so casually. Like, they would say Thai phrases or like mention Thai food, and sometimes she would give it like an explanation. Sometimes she would just kind of say it as a matter of fact, because that's a part of life. As a person who like grew up speaking a different language and speaks a different language at home, kind of like I speak Lao and English, and it's like mixed together. So the words just like come out of you. Okay, so I mixed my butter with my sugar. It looks like this. It's like a paste. That's not the most appealing way to say, but that's what it's like. And I think I put too much butter. Yeah, so I really liked that, and I felt like it was really relatable to like just seeing like one of the, in the opening scenes, they're making egg rolls, her sisters and her mom, and that's definitely something that I do with my mom and my brother. We just like sit and roll egg rolls. And like Winnie, I don't know, I feel like I'm decently good at making egg rolls. Like if I make an effort, whatever I make usually turns out looking really nice, but if I don't make an effort, then it's just like so that's me making egg rolls. But I really loved that aspect, and I love how Winnie is also Buddhist, because I have never really read a book where the main character is Buddhist, and I am Buddhist, so I really loved how she is. And there are like little things that pop up, like when she says Buddha Jiao, or when she goes to the temple for the New Year, the Thai New Year, and something that I really relate to. I will save my New Year story for when we make Thai tea. I really like Winnie's character too, because she, oh, let's see how my butter is lasting. Okay, I think I made the perfect amount. I love how she is really proud of her heritage, and even though she's living in Chicago, so I feel like, I guess, and there's like a pretty like decent Thai community that she hangs out with, because her parents do like having parties and things like that. But I really like that too, and just like how integral it is to her identity, and how she's unwavering about it. She's like, I'm Thai American, these are the things that I like eating these certain foods, which may seem unfamiliar to other people, but that's part of my culture, and I really love how she's proud of it. Yeah, so I have buttered my 3 toasts. I am going to bake them, and then these will be baked and ready to be eaten, and then I will put the leftover butter on that. And I might as well bake this too. I finished toasting my bread, so the ones that had sugar on it before look like that, the ones that don't look like that, and I have brought in my drink stuff. So let's finish this toast, and I'm just gonna put the rest of the sugar butter mix on top, and that will be it for this. Yeah. So the book. I am sorry, I'm not. It appears that I am now good at talking and doing things at the same time. I really did like Winnie's character. I feel like she's in high school. I think it's her senior year. She's supposed to go to college, and she's just also a very like sweet, mostly nice person. I mean, Matt might disagree for the beginning part of it, since they're enemies, but she's just like really sweet. She tries hard in school, tries hard to please her parents and her sisters, and I really did love that relationship between her and her sisters. Like when she was going through different things, she would call her sister when she felt like unsure of herself, and like what to do in the relationship, she could go to her sisters, and I really love that. I only have a little brother, so not exactly the case, but I do have a cousin who is a girl, and she's a couple years older than me, and sometimes I do go to her for advice. So I really love seeing that sisterhood with Winnie and her family, and I think a big part of this book is definitely family, and just how she relates with her parents, what their relationship is like, and I also think this is a really interesting thought, because when you think about the model minority thing too, Winnie's parents are both doctors, and a lot of their friends are also doctors, and so I feel like, and this is also the idea of like, I feel like the single story, if I'm saying it correctly, but oftentimes when I sometimes read reviews of books, about diverse books, there are those people who are like really wanting to see them represented in books, but I think you also have to acknowledge that the book tells a single story and the perspective of the author, and there are millions of people who are in Asia, millions of people who are Asian American, and all our experiences are different. Like for me, my dad's family was really poor, and he was a refugee, and it's a very like different story. And I feel like when I was thinking about things in the book, oh, here's another thing. It's like when you're a diverse reader, and if you identify with the characters and the author, I feel like not only do you read the book, but you also have like end up contemplating your life, or at least I did. This is something that I realized while reading this book, is that even when I'm reading, like when I'm reading books where my identity is present in, I often find myself reflecting on my life, comparing my life to the life in the book. And I mean, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's interesting because it makes you think about different things, but also, I mean, that's like something that you have to keep in mind, that these stories and these characters, they're the only one. They aren't the only representative of, like, Winnie is not the sole representative of what the Thai American experience, and of the Asian American experience either. And to kind of like recognize what makes this story unique, and like what different things contributed to the story. So like I was saying, yeah, so like Winnie's parents are doctors, and I feel like it made me think a lot about my parents and my relationship with my parents, and with them coming from Laos, and my dad like being a refugee, how I've grown up feeling like a lot of pressure because of that, like having to live up to that. And of course, like Winnie's parents are like trying to push her to do like economics, and I think her sisters are also doing something like STEMI, I don't really remember, but it's like kind of a different experience. I don't know, it just made me, I don't know if this makes sense at all, but it made me reflect a lot on that, and also just reflect on my experiences growing up, and how like my parents viewed dating when you're a teenager, or like things like that. So I don't know, just something to keep in mind of when you're, especially like being a part of this like Hear Our Voices tour, where they want people who are going to be reviewing and doing the blog tour to be the same like diverse aspect as the characters in the book. And I think that's really great, because I think that that you're like being able to connect in the characters that way is very important, and to like put these books in the hands of those readers is also very important. But I think we also should acknowledge that just because that they like share this part of their identity doesn't always mean like they can relate. It doesn't always mean that it'll be something easy to read. Because when I was reading this book, okay, I should probably start making stuff. So, okay, I finished my toast. I put the rest of the butter sugar on it, so that is done. And I think I will eat it all when it's finished. So that's done. I will move it, and let's get started on the drink, and we'll continue talking. Moving on to the drink, I'm going to be making Thai tea, and there are 2 ways to make Thai tea. Or at least that my family has made Thai tea in the past. So there is the powder that you can buy at the Asian grocery, and there's like the tea that you can buy at the Asian grocery. So this you just need to add with hot water. This you need to steep. So there's that, and I also thought it would be fun to do 2 different things. So I have boba that I made. You can buy it at the Asian grocery. This is the one that I have, and you just follow the instructions. And today I mixed it with brown sugar as my sweetener syrup. So there's that. And there's also this thing called grass jelly, which actually I like grass jelly better than boba because it's so much easier to make, because you don't actually have to make it. You just gotta cut it up. And it's faster, so it's faster, easier to make, and it's easier to eat because it's jelly and it's soft. You don't have to chew it. So I still have some that's left over in this jar that my aunt cut up. And then we have condensed milk. So that's what it looks like. It's already open because I have been making stuff. And then sugar is in my little house thing. So this is just plain white sugar. And I think that I'm not going to use as much sugar, I hope. So there's always Thai tea at parties when I grew up. Always Thai tea at the temple. And that's kind of what made me think of this, other than that it's Thai. But like in the book, Winnie, let's see, what should I make first? I am gonna do the tea that I have to steep because that will probably be better. In the book, because it takes place during the spring, and the Thai New Year, which is the same day as the Lao New Year, well, it's like 3 days. The same days as Lao New Year takes place, and they go to the temple where there's like a party celebration, and there are people selling food everywhere. And this is why I say this is a great summer book, because it reminds me a lot of summer. And during the summer we would have festivals at the temple, and we'd go to the temple and there would just be people selling food. So like your, you know, popular street food. This is before Asian food became trendy and popular. They would be selling bubble tea, be selling Thai tea, all these different foods. Like actually, I never had Khnom Kok at the temple, but my aunt makes it, and I have like great memories of making it with my aunt and trying to get the 2 halves, because they're like ball shaped, and you make it in like a pan with circle, like half moon cut out. And then you like have to put them on top of each other so they turn to a ball, and then they stick together. Yeah, so okay, so this is why I decided to make Thai tea. And I really love that scene too in the book, and it really made me miss that now that we are in COVID times. I haven't gone to it in a while, but I do have fun memories of going around, and my parents would give me money to buy whatever I wanted, like $10 because there'd be people selling toys and whatever. Okay, so you can follow the instructions on the package, but the package says to put 4 tablespoons of Thai tea mix to 1 cup. And I feel like that is a lot. So, and this is not a table. I don't know how much this spoon is. So right now I put 2. I think I'm gonna put maybe 1 or 2 more. This is more like a tablespoon. I'll put like another half. So I put 3.5 spoons into this, and it looks like that. I don't know how clear it's gonna come up on the video, but that's what it looks like. And now I'm gonna pour hot water. Hopefully my water is still hot. Like I said, my microwave doesn't work. like about a cup. And this measuring cup really sucks because it always spills. So I will grab something to clean it up. I got something to clean up my spill. And here it is. It's supposed to be like bright orange. And we're just gonna let that steep here. Oh shoot, this is wet too. I hate these measuring cups so much. They always spill. I'm like, what is the point? So this is the cup I'm gonna use. And I will pour my water in. That's probably enough for now. And now we're just gonna put in this packet. You can just also follow the instructions. It says 1 packet to 200 milliliters of hot water, which is about 7/8 of a cup. But yeah, here we go. So it just comes out as a powder. And it's super orange, which is supposed to be the color. And I don't know, if you haven't had Thai tea before, I would say, I mean, it tastes like black tea kind of, but really sweet and a bit vanilla-y. Mix it up. Mix it up. This is the easy way. What we do now is add some condensed milk. So technically the thing said you do not have to add condensed milk, but I do like it a little more milky. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So there's that. We'll try it now. Thing is, I feel like these packets aren't very strong in flavor. So for me, this is sweet enough. My aunt likes to add sugar. She makes her drinks like very sweet. So that's enough for this Thai tea. I will wait for this one and then we'll add ice in both of them. Oh, this one needs condensed milk too. So since that one's just like the tea, it does need condensed milk and sugar added to it. There we go. Perfect. And it can cool down a little bit before I add in the boba or the grass jelly. Well, although you can eat boba warm if you wanted to. Grass jelly, I'm afraid it's gonna melt. Let's try this. It's good. I use this salted butter, so it's like got a teeny bit of a salted flavor. So the one I just ate was the one I baked with sugar on it, and so I'll try the one that I added later. Yeah, if you don't have salted butter, I would recommend adding salt. It's kind of a nice flavor. Going back to my point about diverse readers reading diverse books, I think that is something that I've seen it a little bit acknowledged with some books, because some books have a lot more serious, sometimes triggering content related to the aspect of diversity that is featured in it. But like, you know, this book is supposed to be a fun contemporary, but I had a hard time like reading it because it just made me think a lot about my childhood, how I was raised, and yeah, not to say that it wasn't a good book, but I did it like I would read and then I'd have to stop. I guess what else to say about this book? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed their relationship a lot after. Okay, we know that they're gonna become lovers because it's enemies to lovers. So after they become lovers, I'm just gonna stir this. We're fine. But the beginning part when they're enemies was a little like, it just reminded me that this is a YA contemporary, because I feel like sometimes what happens in YA books is that the authors, I feel like, from my personal preference, sometimes focus too much on the physical. aspect of a relationship, and for me, like what's more important in a relationship is like the emotional connection, like your personality and like how you, I don't know, those kinds of things. And then there was like Winnie, who was like, I hate this guy, but he is so hot. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I hate this guy, but I'm so attracted to him, and his lips look so beautiful and kissable. And I'm like, okay, Winnie. And then when they get together, I feel like it was a lot. It went a lot better. Just because like you can see more like genuine interactions and like them getting to know each other again, because they used to be childhood friends. Yeah, so that was one thing. Oh, one thing that I really loved is like her mom would set up these dates of her and Matt, and they were based off of like rom-com movies. So there was their first date is having Matt drive her home from school, because Peter from 12 the Boys I Loved Before drives largely into school. And there was a deli scene, like How Harry Met Sally. I don't know if that's the right name for the movie, but they went to a deli. I mean, minus the other stuff. What other movies? Oh, Crazy Rich Asians kind of made an appearance. So I think it's like just a lot of classic rom-coms, and I think it was kind of cute how the author wove them into these dates and made it really fun to read about. It was just like a fun book, and I do recommend it. I absolutely love how it features Thai culture, because I feel like a lot of the books that I've seen so far have been featuring either East or South Asian culture, and Southeast Asia is different. Things are specific and like special to the Southeast Asian experience, and I feel like we don't always get to read about it and see it, so that really made me happy. So let's strain this. Let's hope it is good. If it's not, then well, you will know to add more. I just have this random coffee strainer, and I'm gonna pour the rest of it in here. I don't know if you noticed, but the theme of Belinda's Home Cafe is Belinda makes a mess. So I'm surprised it hasn't done it. So here we go. It is a bright orange color, which it should be. And that, so let's just wait for this. Come on, good job. Okay, now we add condensed milk, and this is gonna make milky. Oops, I got some tea leaves on here. Well, here we go. Let's try mixing that. I'm gonna try to taste it first before I add any sugar, because condensed milk is actually sweet, so it might be sweet enough for me. I hope you enjoy this. This is the ASMR part of the video, I guess. I want it to be a little more creamy. So I don't know if I could say how much condensed milk this is, because I just pour it down, and if it keeps going, I guess I just have more condensed milk. Okay, it's good, and I think it's sweet enough on its own, so I don't need sugar. But if you want to add sugar, you're welcome to, and you don't have to put as much condensed milk. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just used to seeing it as like a milk tea, but I'm sure if you don't like that, you can always just not add any. Now we're gonna put the drinks together. So we have this one already. I'm just gonna add ice to it, and I think I'm gonna put grass jelly because that floats. Yeah, so that's all we have to do for this drink. Big enough. And then we add some grass jelly. And that is it for this one. Yeah. I do really love grass jelly. It's fun to eat. And I like the brand that I showed earlier because the jelly is a bit more firm. I think there's a couple brands that make it. So there's this. So drink version 1 that's made with the mix. Now we're gonna do the boba one. So boba usually goes down first. Oh, I should have been doing it like this. And I think the brown sugar syrup that I have in here will also sweeten it a little bit too. That's sometimes the thing that I do when I make boba, is that I just add my sweetener with my boba because you're supposed to soak it. And you could either do sugar or you could do honey. And a lot of times I do honey, but I've been wanting to try brown sugar. Ice first. Let's pour over this because I know it's gonna spill. No spill! Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. So that is it for my drink. Now we have everything done. We have our sugar toast, we have our Thai tea, and yeah. I guess I can try to eat and talk about the book at the same time. But if I eat, I can't talk. So I'm gonna eat with my eyes. I did want to do this recipe video. I talked a little bit about it before because Lao and Thai cuisine is very similar. But also because food does play like a big role in the book, I would say. And I did an interview with the author. You can find it on my blog. I'll link it in my description. But we talked about food and how at first she was like, I didn't realize that food was such a big part of this book. And that made me think about it too, because, well, I think part of the reason maybe why like it doesn't seem like, to me, yes, it was a big part of the book, but at the same time it just felt so natural because food just plays such a big part in daily life. And when I'm spending time with my family, it's usually cooking with them or just eating together or doing things like that. And you know, a lot of the food that we eat, that I eat, may seem unfamiliar to other people, and like, so there's a lot of Thai food that's mentioned, and because it's unfamiliar, I feel like it might stand out a bit more. But to me, it's just like the normal thing. I did yesterday, on my Instagram, I think I made Thai tea because I was testing out like my recipe, and we had Sweetened, which is kind of like K-barbecue but the Lao version, so where you are cooking at the table and you have like an array of meat or veggies and all that. And also my mom bought taro and purple sweet potatoes, and I'm like, wow, I was looking at my stores, I'm like, wow, I had a lot of Asian food today, a lot of like trendy Asian food today. But at the same time I'm like, wait a minute, that's because I'm Asian and this is like what I do, this is like what I eat day to day. Maybe not day to day because it takes a bit effort to collect everything to make it seem that. But yeah, I don't know, I really enjoyed that part too, and just seeing the foods that I recognize. But I have a really hard time reading like Romanized Lao Thai because it just does not, I don't know, I feel like it doesn't really fit how it's pronounced, so I just get confused. But it was fun. Like, what is it, one of the things she mentioned was like curry, fried curry potato dumplings, which is something that one of my aunts makes, and it just reminded me of how I wanted to learn how to make them from her because they're really good. But I always had school, so I didn't have time. So now I gotta go call her up and be like, please teach me how to make these. I do want to say that Winnie's character was really relatable, I feel like, and I think a lot of people relate to her as and kind of identify with her story and her character arc as she tries to find her voice. Because while her parents are fine with this fake pretend dating, real dating is still kind of off limits, and that's why they chose their family friend Matt, because they're like, we trust you, Matt. And her like finding her voice and being able to stand up to her parents and actually talk about what she wants, because like I was saying before, Winnie's parents were like, okay, you're gonna go to Northwestern and you're gonna study economics like the good Asian daughter you are. But she's also like really interested in doing art and drawing, and throughout the book she has this like art project where she decorates Matt's Jeep as a different emotion, and it's really fun and cute. I really liked it, that idea, and I think a lot of people will relate to that. So that's about it for my review. This video is probably going to be super long. I'm sorry. I will work on this format to make it better. I really enjoyed cooking and talking about books at the same time. I think this is something that I really want to keep doing, whether that's about books or life or technology. I think it's really fun and a great way to share and just talk casually. And I hope you could try out these recipes. Like sugar butter and toast is pretty simple and it'll turn out good. And Thai tea, I hope you get a chance to try it, whether you make it yourself or you go to a cafe, social distance, and pick it up. It's a really fun summer drink, nice caffeine kick. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.